Excuse me. I breathed in to say hello and I choked on my own self. Okay, good morning, beautiful. This is Wendy with a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. And I hope that you are hearing things better than me because right now I've got a whole lot of muffle happening over here. So give me a shout out in the chat and let me know if this is good for you. Hopefully it is. Okay, so again, my name is Wendy. It is a joy to get to hang out here with you this morning. So what have I been doing this week? Well, this week, working on the song for the Bible verse was a little bit challenging, but I think the end result was a little bit spectacular. Go God. So give a listen to the song if you have not already, and let me know what you think about it. I really like that the verse in the song is complete and intact because I think it just really helps drive home the memorization for the verses. Okay. So what are we going to be doing today? Today, our easy full face makeup tutorial is going to be, can a teal and silver eyeshadow brighten my over 40 eyes? So we're going to answer that question today. Teal and silver, is that going to help me out if I am over 40? So go ahead and grab your eyeshadow. Today, I'm going to be using the palette from Juvia's Place called Wahala 2. So grab your palette, whatever you're using, grab your brushes, grab your false lashes, and get on back here. Let's get going.
A little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus. Voices at me, can't wait.
All right. And I don't know, maybe it's just my ear, but it seems like the music is just a tad bit loud. So let me turn that down just a smidge for us. Okay, we're going to get back in the chat. And I've got a thumbs up. Yay. Thank you. Okay. So our foundation verse for this podcast is Psalm 119, verse 11. I have hidden your word in my heart that I might not sin against you. And then all of the verses that we're going to be doing in season 3 are coming from Color Me James. So if you haven't already picked up your copy, 3 ways you can get that. You can do that ebook. If you're in the Grace and Beauty Inside of the Cherished Queen membership level, actually you get that for free. Then there's also the Perfect Bound, which is from Amazon, and then the Spiral Bound, which you can get from my website. So whatever's easiest for you, the Spiral Bound is probably my favorite version. Okay, here's our song from this week.
You don't send the storm to break. You send the trial to grow my faith. You are the giver of all that's good, the Father of light, just like you said you would. So my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of light cascading down from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. He brought us to life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of all his creatures. You birthed us.
Okay, I'm going to leave the rest of that for you. But if you have not had a chance to listen to that, to get that on, whatever music platform that you are on, make sure you give a listen to that. Now that puts us, I believe that was the 6th song, or was that the 7th? I think 7th song. So we are just like knee deep in scripture verse songs, and I hope you are enjoying Selah and the beautiful vocals and the words, especially to help you memorize those songs in a vacation Bible school, but adult kind of way. So, and good morning. I see, several of you on here. Hey, yay. Okay, so let's take a look at what our verse for this week. Now, I've been asked before, what are these album covers and what are these crazy graphics? These are the full color versions of the graphics that are in the Color Me James book. So you're getting to see what they originally came from. You may color them in whatever way you want to when you come to that coloring page, but this is what it originally looked like. This was my inspiration when I did the book. So anyways, that's what that is. So let's look at our verse. The song was the verse from last week. So let's look at our verse that we got for this week. And okay, here we go. So we're going to be in James 1:19 and 21. Okay, so I'm going to lean in a little because this one we're all working on together. I don't have this one memorized yet. So here we go. So post this at all the intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow up with tongue, and let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger, so throw all that spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let our gardener, God, landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden of your life. Wow. The song this week is going to be another difficult one. But I am a gardener, and so I absolutely love the talk and conversation about the landscape. Let God landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden of your life. I absolutely love that as a gardener. You don't have to be like super skilled in garden to appreciate God being your gardener. Okay, so what are we doing today? Today we're using Wahala 2. You can use whatever palette that you want. I've got 2 lights. Well, one is a light for the top of the brow bone. Another is going to be a highlight for the inside. Then we've got kind of a base color. We've got a darker color to go on the outside. And then there's sort of a mid color in the middle. So really you're going to need, 5 colors to make today happen. But use whatever palette you have. This is the one that I'm using. If you don't know where it is, haven't seen it before, whatever. Whenever we finish this podcast, the show notes will be, we'll have a link to it there for you so you can make sure you're getting the exact same product. Okay, so, and there's the QR code there for you. So the Bible verse is going to be scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. So I think I'm let me see if I can tip us just a smidge. There we go. I think we're about right now. Okay, so just checking out. I believe volume, I got a thumbs up for the volume okay. We still okay? Because it sounds very funky in my ear. Somebody give me a thumbs up out there. Y'all are kind of quiet today. And tell me where you're coming from. I'm going to X out of that little thing that's driving me crazy. There we go. So let me know where you're coming from this morning. And you know what I didn't do? I turned the music off for the video and I did not turn it back on. So let's get that bad boy back on. It'll take it just a second. There we go. Okay. And the chat's back on. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our makeup tutorial. I am going to start with the Professional. This is going to be the matte primer from Benefit. And so we're going to prime our face. What does that do for us? Why do we need to prime our face? I've never primed my face. So the primer can actually bolster a couple of things. Fine from here in England. Yay! Okay, so, and thank you for hanging out with us all the way across the world from where I am. I appreciate you. Okay, so we're going to use just a little bit of this. So a primer can do a few things for you. It can add hydration. It can help mattify, which this one does. Whatever you choose, the primer's primary job is to make your foundation do its job better. So it matters. If you go to paint a room of a house, you're not going to use some cheap, yucky primer thing, because if the foundation is bad, the whole rest of the thing is going to be crap, right? Right. Oh, I said the C word. Okay, so sorry. So we're going to prime just like a wall, and we're only going to use a little tiny bit. We're just going to get that right between the fingers here. We're going to put that wherever you have, well, all over the face a little bit, but we especially want to target any place where you have fine lines and wrinkles, where you might experience separation in your foundation, especially around the lips for those of us over 40. That's going to help your lipstick to do its job better and help you to have a nice clean line when you use your liner. So for this particular primer that I'm using, it is definitely going to be blurring. So if you have pore issues or anything, fine lines, wrinkles, it's going to fill that in and make your foundation look more smooth. This one's also mattifying. So if you struggle at all with having, okay, yay. Okay, so sorry, my little thing was covering up the chat there, so I missed a couple of you. So if you are going to be, oh, now I lost my train of thought. Primer, we're primered. Let's move on to the next thing. So this is going to be It Cosmetics. This is the Bye Bye Under Eye. This is going to be your concealer. So what we're going to do with this is, right now you can see I got like a little bit of splotchy kind of color going on. So we're going to even out that skin tones. When I put my foundation on, it can actually look like a true, this is kind of like a primer in the sense of evening out the color of the wall. So this is like your, this is like your kills for those of you that have ever painted before. Okay, so yeah, I'm getting some giggles here. Okay, so we're just going to use a little bit of this. A little bit goes a long way. Another great one, if you're not using this one, is definitely going to be the Tarte. And the name is escaping me at the moment, but their concealer is amazing. Tarte face tape. Thank you. Shape tape. And again, with that one, you just need a little bit. So we're just going to start out with this particular concealer. It does much better when it warms up to your body temperature. It's going to blend out nicer and smoother. So we're just going to kind of pat that into big patches of blurry nothingness to start out with. And we're just going to leave that there. We're going to talk for just a brief moment. You know, whatever you do, pick your brush for your eyeshadow or something while that thing's kind of warming up a little. It's very thin, so we're done. Okay, so we're going to grab the Juvia's Place. This is a JP 102. This is a foundation brush. Nice angles on this to work around areas on your eye. The flat edge of that does great with getting around that eye. We're going to use that also as a primer on our eyelids so that our eyeshadow colors can be more true, and it will help prevent any creasing or anything like that. Now, we're not going crazy with any glitter colors today. I know Rachel just got upset. We're not going to be using any glitter today. Well, there is some sheer and sparkle. So not glitter, but sheer and sparkle. Okay. So we're just going to blend that out. I'm not going to have any ending lines. So you can see it's all just smoothed out. But all that redness is now colored. And so we're just got kind of an even texture and color that we can now play with to add our foundation. So for today, I'm going to be using the Lancome Tinty Dole. This is the 225N. Things I love about this one. If you wear glasses, like I do on most days, it is going to play nicely with the glasses. Nothing is going to stay. Sorry to give you that little heads up. Nothing is going to stay right here. It's just not going to happen. But this one plays nicer than most. So we're just going to take one pump of that. And then we're just going to blob it on there, working on the bottom part of the face. Then we will blur this out. Oh, I see the aw man. Okay, let's see. When you get to your lips, could you get here? Let me put that up there. There we go. When you get to your lips, could you please give some tips on how to avoid the color bleeding into the fine lines? You betcha. Okay. So we are going to, the other thing great about this Lancome foundation is that it does not, it doesn't really have like a dry time. So if you put it on and go turn and do something for a sec, like I just did, it's not going to dry down and you're not going to be stuck with like patch colors on your face. There are a few that do that. Okay. So definitely for the conversation about the lips and the bleeding out. So you definitely want to make sure, if that is a concern that you have, that right now, before we've done everything and we've said everything, make sure that you go around your lips with your primer. And also when we do the foundation like I just did, make sure that your foundation is going over the edge of that lips as well. I know it's going to seem a little weird because you're kind of taking away the color from your lips, but you put it back in with the lipstick and the liner. So definitely you want primer on the edge and you want your foundation over the edge. Okay, so now we're going to do just a little bit of a partial pump there, and that is going to do our forehead. That was not enough of a partial pump. Let us try a little bit more. There we go. Too partial. Need more partial. Less partial. Anyways. All right. So we're gonna take the edge of that brush and just go up into that hairline. We're gonna work that down our temples. We don't want to you don't want to be able to see your hair discolored from the foundation, but you're gonna go right up to it. And then the brows, you can just go over that because you're going to put your brows color in the way that you want when we get to the brows part. I'm just going to go under the eye one more time. I love this corner right here because it just nestles right up under that eye. And then also right around your nose. Okay, blending out underneath that chin as well. And now we have, let me just get in a little closer, make sure. Sometimes I get a little crazy right here. There we go. Oh, you bet. You are so welcome. Okay, so going to our next step, which is going to be to set this. Today I'm going to be using, this is a Juvia's Place I Am Magic setting powder. And this is White Sands. Yeah, White Sands. So moving on and trying this one. I like this one. Does not have talc in it. I do not believe. I think this is one of the talc free ones I have. Doesn't actually say on here. Okay, so we're just going to shake that a little bit. Let some of that come through those little holes that we've got in the top there. And this one's it's a little different. It feels more corn silky. You know, that kind of silky texture compared to the one that we were using from Benefit from the Power Powder. So we're just going to give a little in there, and then we're going to tap it off. And then we're going to go under the eye. I do like this one, though. I've been using this for, I don't know, about a week now. And it really does a good job of setting. I don't really notice it so much for the oil control, but I haven't noticed it working against it either, so. All right, and I think my chat has now gone lower than, there we go. Okay, we're going to go here. We're going to do that same thing again, tapping it out. You know what? I just remembered I bought a triangle from Juvia's Place, and I don't think I've used that yet. I know I've explained before how much I hate the dust. So one thing that using a triangle puff does for you is you don't have as much flyaway powder. Now this brush here from Juvia's Place does help minimize that as well. So, but I wanted to try, they have a triangle puff that comes in 2 different sizes. And I think I bought one of each. I don't know. I think the smaller one would do better for around the eye area. And I'm not really one for like switching puffs and stuff like that, but I don't know. It might be too much for the whole face. So I got one of the larger ones too. We'll play with that maybe next week. All right. So we're just, every place you just put your foundation, you're just going to set that with your powder. And that's going to give you, this particular powder is going to give you a nice matte, yet not a harsh matte. So it's more of a, I guess not quite a satin, but just more of a natural matte kind of finish. So you're not going to look like, oh, look, she has no color and shine to her face. It's not quite like that. Okay. So we are going to press on. Now that we have got this done, now our face is all one color. We look a little stark, sort of like a ghost. But we're going to add our color back in where we want it and shape our face the way we want it. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that with the KVD Everlasting Shade and Light Refillable. So this has 6 different colors in it. Each one of these is refillable. So you just pop out the little pan and replace it, which is what I love about this. Rather than having to buy the whole palette again, you just buy the shades that you've used. So I'm going to be in these 2 here and then just a tidgy tap in that one right there. I am using an IT Cosmetics foundation brush. This is a dual-ended, so this end here will be for the bronzer, the dark. This end here will be for the lighter, the highlight. So we're going to start out with this one on the flat side. We're just going to get a little bit on that flat side. We're going to go from the top of the ear in a sort of a circular motion to about the corner of the eye. We're going to stay above the hollow of the cheek there. And then right beside that hairline. There we go. Same thing on the other side. And staying with that flat side, we're going to give just a little bit of a swipe right here. And because my hair is falling down today with the humidity, I'm going to pull that back a little bit, and right up against that hairline, we're just going to use a little bit of circular motion to give us a little bit of depth and color up here. And now we're going to switch to the narrow side. So we're going to go here. We're going to go from the ear under that jawline to the corner of the mouth. Keep a neutral face when you do this so that you're truly getting underneath that jawline. And do the same thing on the other side. Now we're going to stay with that side. We're going to go right beside the nose, leaving a clear one right down the center. Give our nose some good shape. Okay, we're going to switch to the fluffy end. We're going to use this highlighter right here. Right on the top of that cheek, right beside the eye. Same thing on the other side. And then we're going to do that same thing right here down the center. Make sure you hit right down the center. Now I did forget my tap, and just right here on the outside. There we go. So now we got some highs, we got some lows, but Wendy, you talked about some color. I don't see any color. Okay, we're there. So we're going to be using the Juvia's Place. This is the blushed volume 4. So we're going to have that, like I said, nice teal and silver going on. So I'm going to be using this one here today, just because I don't need quite so much pink, because we got a lot going to be, not a lot, but some going to be happening in our eyes. So using a MAC blush brush, just gonna, well, since this is to paint, I have another one. I just should have got it out. We're just gonna get a little bit of that on the edge. You really only need like 2 swipes if your palette is new, because these are pretty pigmented. There we go. Right between the low and the high, you're just gonna give yourself a little bit of that pink. With the teal that we've got going on today, you really couldn't use an orange, but you could maybe get away with a peachy color if that goes with your skin tone a little better than the pink does. We're going to use just a little up here in the bronzer, right there on the tip and the chin. Not too much pink there. We don't actually want to see pink. We just want to kind of make a continuous thought on the tip of the nose and the chin. Okay, so before we dive into our lips here, we are going to say our verse together. So it is scrolling across the bottom of your screen. We're going to wait until that comes around, and then we are going to say that together. So wherever you are, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods, here we go. So post this at all the intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow up with your tongue, and let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from sorry, I got ahead of the verse. Doesn't grow from human anger. So throw all spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let our gardener, God, landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden of your life. And that is James 1:19-21. I know it gets a little rough when it's because I talk so fast. I'm sorry. Maybe I should have the scrolling go faster. I don't know. Then it might be hard to keep up with that. Okay, so on with our lips is what we're going to be doing today. So with regards to the question about how to keep it from falling out into your fine lines and wrinkles around your mouth. So one thing would be to choose a matte lipstick versus a cream lipstick versus a lip gloss. The cream, the gloss, it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice moisture. The one from MAC that we're going to use today, which is part of their Viva Glam line, is also hydrating as well. They changed the formula a while back so that it's matte, but it is hydrating. So those things right there will help you out as well. the like softer, creamier, mushier that the lipstick get, mushier, I don't know if that's a good word, but anyways, that it is, the more it's going to be a temptation for it to creep out. Another thing, when you're lining your lips, if you don't like a colored lip line, like a darker or lighter or opposing color, if you don't like that kind of lip liner, choose a lip liner that's the same shade as your lipstick, and then don't go all the way to the edge of the liner. Stay just to the inside of the liner, because liner is thicker and will last longer, and that will help it to not creeping out. It's almost like the liner is the fence for the lipstick. So today we're going to be using, and I love these because these do not bleed out. This is the Juvia's Place. This is the Luxe liner, and this is the shade Love Me. It's about the same color of the lipstick that we're going to be using today. So great question with what we're going to be doing today. These Juvia's Place Luxe liners and all the lip liners that I've used from Juvia's Place and the MAC liners, they do very well as well. They are all wonderful for staying in place. I have never had a problem with any of those creeping out or getting into fine lines and wrinkles, because I do got them right around here, especially right in there. So we've got the primer on, we've got the foundation on over the edge, we've got the setting powder over the edge, and now we're going to go in with our lip liner. So we are going to start out right here in the center. And we're just going to give ourselves a nice little V so we can get a good shape going. Then we're going to round that out to the outside edge. Now, depending on your level of wrinkles, it might be better to actually stay in your lip line when we do this. If your wrinkles are like mine and they're just a little bit fine line wrinkles, you can actually go outside onto your skin just a little bit. But in my experience and what I have seen in makeup applications, if you're going to line onto the skin and you have wrinkles, you're going to be more apt to have a little bit of bleeding out. So run a couple of experiments. One day do it one way, and the next day do it another way. See which one is better. In marketing, you do A/B split tests all the time. So we're doing the same thing, but with our lipstick. So for me, I'm going to go just to the outside of my lips because my wrinkles are kind of more fine and I have not experienced any trouble doing it this way. I have combo skin, so I got a little bit of oil happening on there too. So that can play into it. Okay, so we're going to go from that edge right here. And I'm outside my lip line just a smidge with that line right there. Same thing on the other side. Okay, now we're going to do that same thing on the bottom. Just giving us a nice starting point right there in the center, and then we're going to round that out to the outside corner. Now, especially if you've got bleed out problems, I always come in one line more to the inside of that. If you find that maybe your lipstick is like wearing out really fast, you can line the whole lip and that will help with that. The Viva Glam, they wear wonderful, so I don't feel like you need to do that with that particular lipstick. So we're going to come to the inside of that line one more time. I'm going to use just a little bit lighter pressure and more of a feathery stroke as opposed to a line stroke. And we'll do that same thing on the bottom. Okay, take a little bit of a look back and make sure that you are even on both sides. You like the shape of your lips before we get to the lipstick part. Okay. So now we're going to use the Viva Glam, and this is the, I believe it's the Viva Planet. Yeah, Viva Planet. Kind of a little bit of a pink, but a very much a neutral, kind of neutral with a little tiny bit of a pink twist. Kind of a non-color color. So we're going to fill in where we were. Again, mature lips, got little wrinkles going around. Come just to the inside of the lip liner. All right. Now, I know my grandmother, who didn't wear a lot of makeup, but did wear lipstick from time to time, she used to do her lips like a chicken fried steak. If you're not from Texas, you may not be familiar with this. So let me explain the process of a chicken fried steak. So chicken fried steak, you're going to put a little liquid on it. You're going to put it in some dry batter. You're going to put a little liquid on it. You can put it in some dry batter. So what she would do is she would take her lipstick. She would put a little powder on there. And actually I saw, what's her name? Erin Parsons? Erin Parsons. I think that's her name. She did that the other day. She put the lipstick on. She put a little setting powder. She put lipstick back over the top of that. You may try that as well. That could be your ABC test for your lips. So I've not personally tried that, but I have seen that and know my grandmother used to do that all the time. So you may try that. And yay, give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. I can't wait to see. Send me some pictures. Okay, so now that we have got that done, we are going to move on to our eyes. So excited. We're playing with the Wahala 2 palette. So Wahala 2. We are going to be, I know, are these not spectacular? We are going to start out right here into Shakara, and then we're going to use a little bit of, okay, let me look at my color palette here. We're going to use a little bit of Hunter right here. No, Hater, excuse me. Hater right here. Then we're going to be in Money for just a second. And then we're going to use a little bit of Venom. Where's the Venom? There it is. Venom right there. And then we're going to be in Ambitious, which is right here. So we're just going to be having some fun playing around with that today. So I hope you got your brushes ready. Let us begin. Okay, so this is a Morphe M433. We are going to be using this in Shakara right here. You can tell I like that one because there's not a whole lot left. Just a little bit on there. We're going to use that up on the brow bone. So if you have more pigment to your skin than I do, I'm jealous. But no, seriously. If you have more pigment to your skin, then you may want to choose a different color. We want something up here that's a little bit like your fleshy and then some. So you might use a little bit of lit right here. You could also use a little bit of ASAP right here. Maybe Yab. That's a little pink. But if you've got more rosy to your skin, that might actually work for you. So we're just going to put that up here as kind of a color to blend into. And then we're going to set that brush aside. So our next color that we're going to be using is Hater, and let's use this one here. This is, no, yeah, okay. This one is the Morphe M1, is that 62 or 152? And this is a little bit finer of a brush. Nah, I take that back. I'm going to use this one here. We're covering almost the whole bottom of the lid, and I don't want to be like going over and going over and going over. So we're going to use this here. This is a MAC. Just a general eyeshadow brush. I think it's like a 162 or something like that. You can see the tip on that one though. Just great for basic application. So we're going to go into Hater right here. Is that correct? Yes. So Hater right here. I'm just going to get that. These are pretty pigmented. So I'm just going to get that on one side of the brush. And we're going to do about a little more than a third on the outside and the inside. And if you have hooded eyes like me, remember to get that up. We want to go almost all the way. Just want to leave a little distance up there. We want to be able to see that. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking and doing today, evidently. When we look straight ahead, we want to be able to see that nice tealy green color peeking up above the fold of our eye there. So we're going to leave just a little of a space right up there. There you go. And I'm actually going to just come right here, right there. I'm going to join these together just right there at the top. Sort of looks like a, why do I think Transformer? I'm not sure. Anyways, you're just going to leave that space right there, and we're just going to color that in, leaving that runway. Okay, then we're going to do that same thing on the other side. You don't need to worry too much about like blending out and all that right now. Right now, we're just getting the color in place, and then we will blend all that out in just a minute. Okay, now on the outside corner. I don't know if you can hear that or not. My dog is over here on the floor asleep, and she is just snoring to goodness sakes. That is, it's not Wesley this time. It's my lab, Phoebe. Okay. Now I think I got a little bit less of a runway over here, so we're just going to even that up. There we go. So now we look a little weird. We got that clear center, and then we got that nice aqua teal kind of color going on. We're going to set that aside. Go ahead and grab your fluffy brush. You see any fallout right now, just go ahead and fluff that away. I don't know that I actually saw any, but just making sure. Okay, and now we're going to use Money. So Money is going to be, what is that one? That's that darker one. There it is, right here. We're going to use this one on the outside corner. So I'm actually going to use that one I just talked about, which is the Morphe M152. I think that's going to be a better brush for this. Again, just on one side of that brush. We're just going to get it a little bit. And we're just going to go on the very outside. Make sure you dip into the right color when you're doing this. We're just adding a little extra intensity to that outside there. And we're just going to come right here on the inside, just a little tiny bit. You're only going about maybe half of the distance of what you've got from the hater. We're just building a little dimension. And I'm not going to put any of that up on the top. You know, up here where I had that. Okay. And I don't know what's in the air today, but there we go. Now we're going to get into Venom just a little bit. And Venom is this one right here. So actually I can use that same, well, no, let's not do that. Come on, Wendy. Okay, I'm going to grab a smudger brush just because we need a little bit of shadow application. This one is a MAC, I think. Yeah, 210, 219. Just a little smudger. We're going to go into the Venom. We're going to get it just on the tip. And that's going to be the color right here. So we're going to fill in that. And with this one, you are going to blend out just a little bit onto those side colors. So we're going to go down the center and then blend it to the sides. And now you've got a little bit of lightness. We've elevated that area right down the center. And we'll do that even a little bit more here in just a second. Okay. Now we're going to get into Ambitious. And Ambitious is going to be this one right here. So I'm going to use a very tiny smudger. This one is a Morphe M213. We're going to use this very tiny brush here. And we're going to go into Ambitious. We're just going to get it on one little tiny part. We're going to get it right in the corner. That's going to be just our little bit of accent right there. I see a little bit of fallout. There we go. Now I do feel like I was hoping that that was going to be a little more darker on the outside corners. So I'm going to go ahead and take, this one is a Morphe M321. And I'm going to go ahead in this color right here, what is that called? Egbony? This right here. We're just going to add, I don't feel like this is as dark as I wanted on the outside corners. So I'm going to take the tip of this and just tap it in there. And let's just give it a little bit. Yeah. That's more how I saw this going. I'll have to add that to the show notes since I've added that to my lid now. Yeah, I like that better. All right, now I feel like I need a little more something something right down that center. So I'm going to take the tip of my finger and I'm going to go in that ambitious and I'm just going to set that on there. And then let's just put a little of that right there. We're just giving a little bit of lift right there. Yeah, much better, much better, much better. Now we want to blend out. I kind of got a line thing happening right here. I'm going to go back to that 433 and the color that we have up there is Hater. So I'm just going to lightly tap right there in Hater and we're just going to blend those two colors together right here. Soften that line a little bit. Tapping in Hater. Just blending that out a little bit. And I want to get a little bit of that ambitious love right on that brow bone right there. So I'm just going to get a little bit of that right there. And I'm going to go right here on that brow bone with it. Just give a little bit of that nice silver shimmery. I guess that's silver and shimmery blended together. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that under eye area done. We've got the top part going on there. So we're going to go back to our M213. I think I have like 4 of these because I use this one so much. I love the 413. So we're going to go into the Hater first. On one side, we're going to go under the eye. Right up to that lash line. And we're going to go a little more than halfway across. There we go. And now the other one that we used was, actually, I think we're going to use just a smidge of the Venom, just like a little tiny, and do that right in the center. And then we're going to grab that ambitious, and that's going to go right here. Nice. Oh, actually, I just dipped that in Hater. It was Venom that was right here. There we go. Okay, so now we got all that going on. Let's get a little line, a little definition. Then we're going to do some lashes. So I'm using the Too Faced. Nope. Yeah, Too Faced, but this is a killer liner in black. Let me see if it'll let me sharpen it. I was having troubles with it the other day. So this is a sharpening. Okay, evidently. There we go. It was working. Okay, so we're going to line from the outside corner to about halfway with this one. And you can see from the one side to the other side just gives you a little bit of intensity on that outside corner. Then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom of the eye. We are really writing along that lash line. We don't want to actually see a line. We just want an illusion of some intensity on that outside corner. I'm going to about halfway in the middle of that lighter color that we used right there in that ambition. Okay. So we've got our first liner on. Now we're going to do our liner, the Too Faced Better Than Sex. This is the Easy Glide Waterproof Liquid Eyeliner. And this is going to go from one edge to the other edge across the top. And that is going to help give us just a nice clean line, nice runway for those false lashes. Also give you a little more of a frame on your eye. So we're going to go from the outside corner. And then this, I feel like this, I am not very good with liquid liner. And so this one is really just a goof-proof liner. I love the tip on this. It stays its shape. The liner itself does not have a tendency to dry out like some do. You know, you use it twice and then it's dried out and you can't use it anymore. So that's just going to give you a nice clean line right there. Once it dries down, it is not going to go anywhere for the whole day. This one is wedding approved. But you got to let it dry first. Okay, so we're just going across to the other side. And yes, great question. You can see the first liner that I put on kind of peeking up above that just a little bit. And that's what you want. It's what kind of helps give you the little bit of dimension to what you're doing here. And let me see. If you have eyes watering like me, you want that liner to dry down. So if you need to fluff a little bit, there we go. Okay, so now we are to our brows and then we will do our lashes. We're going to wait for our mascara and lashes while we're letting that eyeliner dry because we want it 100% dry when we go to put our lashes on. So whatever your brow product of choice is, I am using the Benefit Cosmetics Bad Gal Bang in the color Wild Plum. And for you, that might be, you know, a normal people eyebrow product. But I find that for fashion colored hair, colored mascaras work well. So if you need help with that, you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to get the look you want, head over to Ulta to the Benefit Brow Bar, schedule an appointment, try to do a walk-in. Some have walk-ins easier than others. And show them a picture of what kind of brow look you want, and they will shape your brow. They will show you the products that you need to use to get the look that you want, and they'll show you how to use them. Okay, so you can see a difference a brow makes. Wow, that's crazy. I really don't have any brows. Okay, so here we go. When you're using a mascara for a brow product, or even some of those brow pomades in a container like this, you're gonna kind of hover above your skin. You're really just trying to get it on your brow hairs. So we're just going to brush that hair into the direction that we want it so that once it dries, it actually stays there and I don't got to think about it or worry about it for the whole day. It's just going to stay in place. Okay, let me see. Yeah. So what I need is for the skinny brows to come back in a hurry because that's what I got. Oh, we got a little bot going on here. How sad is that? Let's see. Add to block list. There we go. Thank you for coming today. Appreciate you. Okay. Here we go. So now our eyeliner is dry. We are good to go. What are we going to be doing now, Wendy? Because we're using lashes, we're just going to use this eyelash curler. This is the Tweezer Man Great Grip Onyx. Wait, hold on. I always say it wrong. Tweezer Man Onyx Great Grip Eyelash Curler. There we go. It's a lot of words for so early in the morning. Okay, so we're going to be using the Bad Gal Bang Mascara. This is a wonderful water-resistant formula. If it's raining where you are like it is where I am, this is not going to go anywhere if you go out in the rain. The only time you may have any issues with this is if you like go swimming, in which case, what do you wear makeup for anyways? Okay, so we are going to get our verse today. Let me get it actually over here, is a little bit long. So we're not going to use the whole verse for our eyelash curler because that would be very long. But we are going to use half of it. So we'll use 2 sentences for the timer and then we'll use the same 2 sentences for the next. So when you get your lash curler on there, you want to make sure that all your lashes are between these two blades. And then when you crimp down, you do not want it pinching your eyelid. If it does, then you want to release and let it and try it again. Okay, here we go. Post this at all the intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow up with your tongue, and let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger. So throw all spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let our gardener, God, landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden of your life. James 1:19-21. Okay, maybe we are going to do the whole verse. Okay, here we go. Find that sweet spot on the other side. And here we go. Post this at all intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow with your tongue, and let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger. So throw away all spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let our gardener, God, landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden out of your life. James 1:19-21. Okay, so we are all good and curled. Okay, here we go. I am going to grab my magnifier mirror. We're going to give probably 2 coats of mascara on the top since we're wearing lashes. We're going to come in from behind as well. We want our lashes to blend in there. If you have black lashes, you can probably skip this step. Your call. It will give you more volume. So there we go. And I see what I did right there. So I'm going to grab this. There you go. Now that's gone. I touched my mascara wand to my eyelid, so I was just fixing that. So we're going to come over here to the other side. Again, we're sweeping behind the lashes so that we're getting those tips nice and coated. And I do curl, good question. I do curl my lashes even when I'm wearing false lashes because mine kind of point down, like straight down. And if you don't curl them, you're going to have, if you looked at the side of your eye, you're going to have my lashes and then the false lashes. And that's going to look a little weird. So I do curl my lashes even when I'm wearing false lashes, just so that everything is coexisting in the same space. So we're going to do the bottom lashes. They are not getting false lashes, so we're going to make sure that we get those nice and covered. We're going from root to tip on these as well. Same thing on the other side. And I feel like maybe it's time for a new tube of mascara because I don't feel like this is covering as good as it usually does. So let me go ahead. We're going to do that top one more time. I just like a nice voluminous slash. So there you go. Coming back on those tips, making sure those are nice and covered. Okay, much better, much better. And then one more time on those bottom lashes. This is more of my mascara problem than it is a normal necessity. But I just like for my bottom lashes to balance out all the volume going to be happening on those top lashes. So there we go. Okay. Sweeping up under those tips on the bottom ones too. There we go. Now I did notice something while I was kind of close up in there, and I saw a little more fallout than I really care to keep. So I'm going to take, this is the Magic Bullet Brush. This has been in the show notes quite a few times. So You may need to go back and look. It's on my website as well. I don't know that I call it Magic Bullet. Maybe I should put that in there just so you can do it. So I'm going to get that into the powder. I'm going to tap that off. And we're going to go under the eye right here. And we're just going to erase any of that fallout happening with our setting powder. There you go. And now it's gone. So that is how you can fix that. You can, some people do put their eyeshadow on before they put the foundation on. I don't know. I've just never liked that or cared for that myself. I would rather just, if you have fallout, fix it that way. Okay, so now we are ready for our false lashes. So I'm going to be using the Ardell Gains today. This was a line of lashes that they did specifically. It's their Active Lash series, specifically made for people who want to wear false lashes while they're exercising. Okay, so let's see. What is that question? Why do so many makeup products nowadays have such long names, even eyelash curlers? I know! I do not know. You know, keep it simple. I don't know. Maybe in years past, they used up all the simple names. I'm not sure. Sometimes they're cute, but I don't know. It seems a little bit ridiculous to me that we have to have 5 names for an eyelash curler. Can't we call it like, you know, extreme eyelash curler? That's simple. That's easy to say. That rolls off the tongue. Or the best. Ardell lashes. Ardell, what is it called? Hold on. It's Tweezer Man. Tweezer Man, the best eyelash curler. Tweezer Man, the supreme eyelash curler. Tweezer Man, the curliest eyelash curler. I don't know. That would be much easier, but maybe that's just me talking. Okay. Okay, so we are going to be grabbing the lash right there. We're just going to get it off that tray. We're going to set them in front of us on the little tape. Well, you can do it from the tray, but I don't know. I just don't like to get adhesive on this, because then when you go to put it back in, if there's like adhesive on there, then you got like a whole problem for the next time. So I see I've got a little, like a tag. See this little tag right here? There you go. So here's what you do. You take that little tag and you take that tag off. Okay, lashes. One thing I don't like is to have my last lash, any residue from that to be on there, because like, let's say yesterday I had on purple shadow and today I'm doing green. Well, if you have shadow residue from your last lashes on that lash band, when you close your eyes like this, you're going to see it. Sometimes, depending on the extreme difference between yesterday's and today's, you could actually end up seeing it from looking forward. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think that looks a little strange. So usually I remove the residue from my lashes when I put them in the tray, but for whatever reason, evidently I didn't this time. So there we go. Now the lash band is all clear. You can see there's no, well, can you? Anyways, there's no residue built up on there. I am going to be using the lash glue that I did not actually grab. So over across the room, I have a wonderful makeup station. Where my lash adhesive lives. There we go. This is the iLure 18-hour lash glue. Somehow I missed that in my setup instructions. Okay, it happens. Real life, people. This is alive. Okay, so we're going to take our lash band and we're going to put that right on the top of that band there. I know, right? That's just, it goes. It happens. It's real. Here we go. And then we're going to go with that lash adhesive right on the back side of that band. Now you know what I look like when I scoot across the floor. Then we're going to do the same thing with the lash band for the other side. It's going to go right here on the top. I'm going to be embarrassed when I watch this back if you're going to see that today, out of a normal thing, I actually have my pajama bottoms on. I hope you couldn't see that. I mean, they're just like striped, but my clothes for today are an overall, and I couldn't wear that with my makeup and Jesus shirt. So I decided that I was going to keep my pajama bottoms on today. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. You know, the one time. Okay. Let's go ahead. Now the first set of lashes that we got our adhesive on should be about ready to go. So we're going to take that lash. We're just going to give them a little bit of a curl. Make sure they're nice and ready to go and that they're going to form to our eye. I'm going to take that right there in the middle. And I'm going to go right on that black eyeliner line that we did. These were not 100% ready. If they feel cold and wet when you put them on, the adhesive wasn't quite ready to go yet, but that's okay. We can make do. Sometimes you just might get a little shifting, so you got to kind of babysit it. So we're going to take the tip, work our eyelashes in. We're going to make sure that everybody is occupying the same space. So just above that band, we're just going to make sure they're pinched together. Not pinched, that's not a good word. Smooshed together. There we go. And so you can see the difference between a lash side and a not lash side. These are a very natural lash. I really like these, especially when you don't want like so much of a lash look. You just want a little something. So we're going to take the lash for the other side. We're going to do that same thing. Give it a little roll. Get that curve going on. Grab that in the center. Set that down right here. There we go. Put that right on that line. I think I got a little adhesive, so we're just going to wipe that off. There we go. And setting that right down on that eyeliner line. I'm going to come back. Make sure the lashes are all occupying that same space together. See, this is what I meant about the lifting when your adhesive is not quite ready. There we go. And then that tip. That little guy's trying to be a little ornery today. Here we go. Get my little lashes over there. There you go. There you go. Everybody play nicely. Okay. Okay, he's staying. Yay. Every once in a while you have a day where, you know, things just operate a little differently. One thing to do is just don't get frustrated. Just be patient with it. Just let it do its thing. You know, kind of like today's verse talking about anger. So, I don't know. Maybe it is that makeup application is part of that test of your character. So, there we go. So now we got some beautiful color going on. We got some shimmer. We got some sparkle going up on that brow bone. But let's go ahead and add a little something today. So we're going to go with our heroine. This is our Juvia's Place, the Heroine Glow 2. This is going to give you just a nice kind of a rose gold. We're going to use that Anastasia highlighter brush. Just give you a couple of swirls. We're going to go right on the cheek there, right beside the eye socket. That's going to give you some nice, lovely shimmer. A little bit of rose goldiness, so a little tiny bit of color right there. We're going to go down the center. Blend that out just a smidge. I love that little bit of shine right on the top of the nose there. There you go. Just adding a little bit of that. It's those little extra touches that are really going to set your look apart from other people, yesterday's look, or whatever. So my eye is watering fairly decent. Now, I've done all this work. You've done all this work. We want it to stay put, right? You don't want to be messing up and touching your makeup all day long. So we're going to use our Juvia's Place. This is the Ready, Set, Sealed. We're just going to give it a shake. We're going to spray that down. Oh man, love the smell of that. That is going to set our makeup for the day. It is going to go on. It is going to help you stay with that pleasant satin matte finish. It is going to help also with the lip thing. If you're spraying that like I just did, not like directly on the lips or anything, but around that whole lip thing, that will help to a certain extent with that as well. So let us say our verse one more time together. That is scrolling across your screen. Post this at all intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow up with your tongue, and let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger. So throw all spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let your gardener, God, landscape you with the word, making a salvation garden of your life. James 1:15-21. I love that. Oh man, look what just happened. Look. See it? Okay, so that may require a touch extra of adhesive right there because it is just having a misbehaving problem. So we're just going to do this right here. Crimp those together. There we go. Okay, it happens. Now you know what to do to fix it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It has been a delight to hang out with you as we played with our teal and silver. And let's see, this morning, I look forward to seeing your looks that you've done, especially we've had a serious conversation about lips, foundations, concealer. So send me a picture of what you got. I would love to see how your look turned out today. So look forward to seeing you throughout the week on social media or on my website, a little bit of makeup and a whole lot of Jesus.com. So let's go ahead and review our verses for this series that we've been doing. Oh, well, that did not. There we go. Here we go. So we've got James 1:1. I, James, am a slave of God and the Master Jesus, writing to the 12 tribes scattered to kingdom come. Hello. Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so that you may become, mature and well-developed, not deficient in any way. And that's James 1:2-4. If you don't know what you're doing, ask the Father. He loves to help, and you won't be condescended to when asking for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought. It's hard to do this without singing. Without a second thought. People who worry their prayers are like wind-whipped waves. Don't think you're going to get anything from the Master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all your options open. James 1:5-8. And then we had, hold on, there we go. When down and outers get a break, cheer. And when the rich are cut down to size, cheer. Prosperity is as short-lived as a wildflower. So don't ever count on it. Oh man, I'm trying to remember the song of that. You know that as soon as the sun rises with its scorching heat, the flower withers and the petals wilt. Oh, I'm getting it messed up, huh? The flower withers and its petals will. Oh, and before you know it, that beautiful stem, that beautiful face is a barren stem. Well, that's a picture of the prosperous life. At the very moment everyone is looking on in admiration, it fades away. It fades away to nothing. And the song fades away to nothing. Okay, and that is James 1, I think 9-11. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay. And then we work to anyone who meets a testing challenge head on and navigates through it. And manages to stick with it is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, there is life and more life. Okay, and don't let anyone give into pressure and give into evil say, God is trying to trip me up. God is impervious to evil. and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have, let's see, gives a temptation of us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby, sin. Sin grows up into adulthood and becomes a real killer, which was that week's song name. And then this week we've got, here, let me scroll down because that one's really tiny. So, my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes out of heaven. The gifts are, oh, that's actually last week's. I'm just kidding. The gifts are rivers of light cascading down from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. He brought to us life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of his creatures. Wow, I guess I need to work on that one a little bit more, huh? How did that work for you this week? That one, I really liked the song, but evidently I need to work on that more. So here we are to this week's. James 1, 19 to 21. Now I have a project. Okay, post this at all the intersections, dear friends. Lead with your ears, follow up with your tongue, and let anger straggle along in the rear. God's righteousness doesn't grow from human anger, so throw all spoiled virtue and cancerous evil in the garbage. In simple humility, let our gardener, God, landscape you with the word, making salvation garden of your life. So that's what we're going to be working on this week together. Again, these are all coming from Color Me James. So you'll be able to have that coloring page that looks kind of like those graphics we just looked at. Again, ebook, which comes with the Cherished Queen, Beauty and Grace Insiders on YouTube. Then we've got the Amazon Perfect Bound version. And then my favorite, which is the Spiral Bound version. Actually, I like the Spiral Bound and the ebook the best. Just because then I can always have one or the other with me. But the Spiral is definitely much better for me for working through it and highlighting and really kind of dissecting the scripture. Okay, so Beauty and Grace Insider. I know I've mentioned that a couple of times. This is on YouTube. So you're going to go to my YouTube channel and then /join, and that will get you to it. 3 different membership levels. The Cherished Queen is the one that gets you the ebook for free. So make sure when you join those, you're going to get a little information thing. Make sure that you follow the link that's in there so that you can have that delivered to you. Okay. So let me say a blessing over us and we will pray. So Numbers chapter 6, verse 24 to 25. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. Heavenly Father, how thankful I am for each one of these ladies that are hanging out with me online, the ones that will be joining later on in the recording. Father, I just pray wherever they are in this world, in their life, time of day, Father, that you would bless them where they are, that you would help us to hide these words in our heart, just like the Psalm tells us at the beginning of this podcast, that you would help us to hide these words in our heart so that will protect us, that will encourage us, that will edify us, and then we can use those verses to help encourage others. Father, I'm just so thankful for each one of these ladies, and I pray that you would bless us with your word, and just send us out this week in your grace and mercy. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Well, again, it has been a delight to hang out with you. I look forward to seeing you on social media or in person for those of you that are here in my neck of the woods. You all have a great rest of your week. Goodbye. God bless. Love you. Mwah.